Hello there and welcome to this episode. So this is going to be a first of a series of videos that we're going to be producing. It's going to be a question and answer series where we get to answer the questions that that seem to be burning questions, right? Because you guys write a lot of emails to us and also send a lot of Facebook messages. So we're going to be responding to those messages on video like this. Not all of them, obviously. If we were going to be doing that, we could be doing a video that lasts several months, several weeks, right? But pretty much we have cherry picked some of those questions which we feel they're very good questions and they will help shed light on this problem of emission system. Now, a lot of people have these problems, and if you're not careful now, you're going to solve these problems. You might end up losing your asset, and it might even cause you not to sleep at night, right? So I'm hoping that by making this video series, it's actually going to help you, and I'm just going to be monitoring the performance of this question and answer series. And like I said, I don't think it's going to run forever, right? We're just going to do a couple of series, a series of videos, and when we feel like we've adequately answered some of those most burning questions, then probably that series will come to an end, right? So I encourage you to ask a lot, write a lot of emails to us. If you want to be very descriptive, that's fine. You can even be descriptive. If you want to send us videos, we've had people sending us videos on our WhatsApp. We've had people sending videos on our emails as well, right? And we've done our best to try to get them to their solution, right? I hope you enjoy it, and I would also be looking forward to your comments in the comments down below, right? So without wasting much time, let's get on to the questions and let's start answering them. Okay. So the first question comes from Saad. He says, "Hi, I have a Toyota Hiace 2012 and the DPF light came on. I took it to the mechanic and he cleared the filter, reset the light, everything, but the light comes back after 3 to 4 days. Is my filter bad or what? Any suggestions? Anything you would suggest?" Thank you very much for getting in touch with us, Saad. Now, just because your mechanic has got a machine, a diagnostic tool that can do a reset, a DPF reset, what it tells me is that he's got a very advanced diagnostic tool, right? Now, an advanced diagnostic tool will come with two options: one that does DPF reset and one that does DPF regeneration, right? Doing a reset, when we do a DPF reset, that's when you've bought a brand new DPF or you've bought sensors for the DPF, and when you fit them, we just reset on the diagnostic tool. That tells the computer that it's no longer using an old DPF, so it should start learning the new DPF so that it works with the vehicle. You understand? Then the second option of doing a DPF regeneration is we use it when a vehicle has got a clogged DPF and we want to clear the soot, right? We want it to, the vehicle itself, I think in my previous videos I've explained that the vehicle itself has got self-cleaning mechanism, right? A mechanism to clean that DPF, right? And it does that by raising exhaust temperatures, by revving itself and so forth, and all that. What it's going to do is it's going to burn the soot that would have accumulated inside the DPF. So if he has done a reset, right, all he has simply done is he has told the computer to say, look, we bought a brand new DPF, but that wasn't a brand new DPF. So when you drive, it won't even take it a few days to realize that, you know what, this is not a brand new DPF, right? And then it throws that check engine light and that DPF light, and you've got all those problems back again, right? So what he needs to do is he needs to do a proper regeneration, right? It's probably going to take an hour. It might even take more, right? And it requires you to have, I think, at least a quarter tank in that Toyota Hiace, right? It's going to rev itself. It's going to do a bunch of stuff, right? Whilst it's stationary, it shouldn't be disturbed for as long as it wants. And when it has finished doing that, it would have finished properly cleaning or clearing the soot that would have accumulated inside the DPF, right? You understand? So at this point, we can't really say that your DPF is bad. Now, after you've done a regeneration, it's also important for you to figure out what would have caused your DPF to fail. I think I've really explained that in detail in previous videos, right, where I indicated that it could be one of three things, and it's so important for you to realize what it is, because if you don't understand what it is, that problem will come back again. One of the problems being that your driving habits is you use that vehicle for short distance runs. So if you use it for short distance runs, that DPF is probably going to clog far much quicker, simply because you don't give it enough time. Because whilst you're driving, it does its own passive regeneration, it does its own passive self-cleaning of that DPF. So if you don't give it enough time, it's simply going to clog up, right? You understand? So going forward, it means you have to adjust your driving habits so that at least once or twice in a week you do a proper you probably go on the highway, drive a 40-kilometer run or something like that, so that it really gives it time to burn that soot. I think I explained in some videos which I've produced. I think I'll put a link over here so that you can have a look at that. Okay, so at this point, like I said, we cannot say your DPF is dead. Do exactly as we have said, and then after that you can see if your DPF is dead. But I don't think it's dead. Just do a regeneration and everything should be all right. Hopefully you don't get to a point where it's too late, because when you do that at a point that it is too late, then it becomes difficult to recover that DPF. That's when it actually becomes dead, and we are now supposed to go for a much more expensive solution. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. The next question comes from Isaac. He says, hi, just bought a Dutro and wouldn't want to wait for the problem. Are you able to assist? Okay, that's a great question, Isaac. By the way, Isaac is from a country like ours, where pretty much we've got a manufacturer who makes similar trucks, but they don't come with a diesel particle filter, right? Now, if you've got a Dutro which has got a diesel particle filter system, and you are in Africa or in Asia or South America, or let's say you are in a third world country or a developing country which really doesn't have emission laws, right? Most of the times is the reason why you've got that truck is you've imported it from overseas, right? So his question, what he's simply asking is, can we deal with the problem before it actually happens? Because these problems tend to happen a lot to people who are in these countries, because the fuel sometimes which we use is not of the best quality. I think I've explained that before. It's not of the best quality. Sometimes there's fuel shortage issues, so you're forced to then use some of that fuel which is not really good. And they are not really good for the DPF. So yes, to answer your question, yes, we can help you. Pretty much we can assist you with that. All you just have to do is to contact us on our WhatsApp number. When you contact us on our WhatsApp number, we then give you a set of procedures, and then we tell you what to do in order to implement to resolve that issue, right? Pretty much what we're going to do is we're just going to do a delete on that DPF. After we've done that, that vehicle is really going to perform better. I think we've explained that, right? And sometimes it's actually good to preempt the problem on this particular truck, because they tend to create so much back pressure which then damages the turbo, right? That's what usually happens on these Dutros. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Next question is from Janice Hamilton. He says, I just watched your video on the ladies Toyota Hiace. By the way, we've got a video on our Facebook channel about a lady's Toyota Hiace which was screwed up. You can check our Facebook page and you can watch the video there where we describe what they've done to the vehicle. So he says he's just watched that video, and he says, my engine light keeps coming on randomly. I have had a diagnostic test done on it 3 times and comes back with no faults showing. Had my care services. I think he's trying to say he had his car serviced and is currently pulling better, but the light is showing on randomly. What could that be? Any advice would be greatly appreciated. I await your most kind response. Right? Okay. All right, Janice. Here's what you need to do. You need to drive that vehicle, and when it shows that light, take it to a diagnostic shop immediately, and when you get there, do not switch it off, right? Now, what these Toyotas tend to do is when you switch them off, they might erase some of those codes, right? Because when it, let's say when you're driving and it shows the check engine light and it goes off, right? That's an intermittent fault, right? And when you turn off the vehicle, turn off the ignition, it might really clear it from the, I don't know how these Toyotas do that, but you see with other vehicles, they always keep memory of these things. But when you take it to a diagnostic shop, the check engine light turned off, but you did not switch off the engine. There's going to be, in memory, it's going to keep a record of what happened. So they should be able to see what exactly has happened. I wouldn't say it's as a result of a DPF, right? Because a DPF problem, there's also another warning light which tells you that there's a DPF thing that is going on. Probably you're talking about the DPF light flashing, not necessarily the check engine light. But if it's your DPF that is flashing, all it's simply telling you is do not switch off the car. It needs to do that burn. Now I'm thinking to my mind that probably that's what, because sometimes people confuse the DPF light and the check engine light, right? And when that DPF light is flashing, all it's simply saying is do not switch off the vehicle, because when you switch off the vehicle, it really wants to finish off that self-cleaning process which I talk about, right? It needs to finish it. So if you switch it off, you're not giving it its required time. So let it flash, and when it has stopped flashing, right, it means it has finished doing its cleaning cycle, and then you can park your vehicle. So let's say you were driving home and then you start to see that light flashing. You may need to just drive around the block maybe once or twice, and then that light will just go off, and then you can get inside and park your vehicle, right? So that's pretty much what it means most of the time. But if it's a check engine light, I think I've guided you on what to do, right? You don't switch off the car, you just send it to a diagnostic shop, they connect, they will definitely see the fault codes. And when that DPF light is flashing, if you connect a diagnostic to, you're never going to see a fault. Never. You're not going to see a fault because there's no problem. It's just doing what it's doing, but it's telling you not to switch off the car until it has finished doing what it's doing, what it actually wants to do, right? I hope that makes sense. Next question comes from Ruben. He says, "Hi, my name is Ruben from Kenya. I have a Mazda CX-5 diesel. I deleted my DPF, but the software part was not done well. They simply muted the sensors. I want a proper remapping of computer to run without DPF. Can you assist?" Ruben, what I want to tell you is there's a guy I know in Kenya, right? And what I'm going to do is I am going to put his details in the description also. So if you're from Kenya and you're having this problem, you can contact this guy directly. I think he should be able to assist you. I know already I've responded to you with the information, but let's say you're watching this from Kenya and you're having a problem. I'm pretty much going to put his numbers in the description down below, and then you can check him out. I think he should be able to assist you if you're having emission related problems. I talk to him a lot and he's a very good gentleman, and I think he should be able to assist anybody in Kenya. Another question comes from Dirara. He says, "Hi DPF family, I'm writing for you from Ethiopia. I've got a Toyota Hilux 2019. DPF light is on dashboard. After 2 days, check engine light also on. I don't have a scan tool. How can we diagnose, or how we can diagnose?" Okay, thank you very much for getting in touch, Derara. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Please forgive me if I say your names incorrectly, but I'm really doing my best here. Okay, so you've got a later model Toyota Hilux, and it's giving you DPF issues. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is that obviously, when it shows a check engine light, you want to go to a diagnostic specialist, you want to go to a mechanic, or you want to go to the dealer themselves so that they pretty much check what the problem is, right? But usually what happens when that vehicle then shows a check engine light, it means that that DPF has reached a state where it is now supposed to go to a dealer or to go to a mechanic for a regeneration process to be done, right? Because obviously it tells you when the DPF is full, it tells you in the instrument cluster to say that, you know what, the DPF is full, right? But they need to get to a stage where it's saying that in the instrument cluster plus a check engine light. So when it is arrived at a stage of a check engine light, now it has to go to the hands of the mechanic. But before that, there's something that you can do yourself without having to spend money, right? All you just have to do, you can put your vehicle in third gear, right? You drive it above 2000 or 2500 RPMs. You just have to make sure that you are in a highway where there is not much disturbance, and you drive for at least 30 minutes like that, right? It should easily cook up whatever is inside the DPF. If there's no problem anywhere in the vehicle, it should easily by itself do a burn, right, on the DPF, and it should clear off the soot that would be blocking the DPF, right? But if it fails now, then it means what you need to do is to go to that mechanic, or you need to go to that dealer, so that they pretty much look at the vehicle and see what is going on, right? Now at this today where we are producing this video today is the 4th of March 2021, right? I can tell you that that vehicle, obviously you're in Ethiopia and obviously imported this vehicle, because if you bought directly from Toyota Ethiopia, I'm pretty sure they don't sell Toyota Hiluxes with DPF, so I'm sure you imported it. The other solution for you would probably be to convert that vehicle, but at this point, because these are still later model vehicles, I know that not all of them are possible. I think probably 60% of those later model Toyota Hiluxes it's possible. Then the other 40% it might not actually be possible. That is from experience. I mean, we've done plenty of these vehicles, so we know. So but the first, which is probably the cheapest solution, I would say, do a regeneration. You can drive yourself or send it to a dealer to perform a regeneration, right? If regeneration fails, that's when you are now supposed to think about buying a brand new DPF or converting it to non-DPF. But at this point, all you need to do is do a regeneration and you should be fine. I'm not so sure if it's still on warranty, because obviously it came from abroad, and because now you're using our fuel here in Africa, probably there might be some warranty issues there. So that's what I might want to tell you. So pretty much do a regeneration first and see how that goes. Next question is from Tanaka, and he says, hi, I've got a Ford 3.2 Ford Ranger 3.2 6-gear manual, which I am sure has a DPF problem. Do you think you can fix it? Thank you very much, Tanaka, for getting in touch. Yes, we have a solution for a Ford Ranger 3.2 all the way up to 2020. We should be able to assist you in case you've got this DPF problem. All you have to do, just book in your vehicle using the numbers that are in the description or that might show on the screen. Book your vehicle. We check to make sure that it's got a DPF problem. Sometimes people think that it's a DPF problem and it might not. Maybe there's something else going with that vehicle. So we need to check, right? That's the first thing that we do, and checking is absolutely free of charge here at the DPF team. So book your vehicle, come through, and we should be able to assist you. Next comes from Steve. He says, hello, I've got 2009 Toyota Toyo S Dyna 150 model. It's 3-liter D4D. DPF keeps doing regenerations every 100 kilometers. So far, it's got 4 brand new Toyota injectors, EGR, air inlet, all cleaned, and DPF was professionally cleaned also. DPF is 100% clean. ECU needs to be reset to new DPF fitted. I am unable to find any diagnostic tool to do reset. Can you share with me any ideas on how to solve this issue? Now I know Steve is from Portugal, right? Because we then spoke on chat, and this is the problem that he has. Pretty much when a vehicle is behaving this way, injectors are new, you clean the air inlet, and the DPF was also professionally cleaned. And it does every 100 kilometers is doing a regeneration. Obviously what this means is this vehicle is consuming a lot of fuel. It also means that, and you can hear it when it's doing its regeneration, it changes its idling. It also flashes a light, that DPF light, it means there's something going on, right? Probably what this means is, whilst you might have changed the injectors, whilst you've done that, it probably means that maybe your vehicle is producing more emissions, right? A lot more emissions than it should actually be. So that forces the vehicle to initiate that self-cleaning process far much more frequently. That's A, right? Another thing is that DPF that you have professionally cleaned, as you have said, right? Sometimes some of these DPFs, when they are at a point that they are really contaminated, you can clean it as much as you want, but it might have reached a point where it is no longer recoverable, right? So either of the two is what is happening to your vehicle, right? It's already good that you've cleaned the air inlet. I don't know if you've done the EGR as well, and I don't know if you've checked the turbo of your truck to make sure that it's performing as it should, because that can also be a problem area, which can really cause your vehicle to produce more emissions than it should, which end up clogging the DPF, making the vehicle want to do more regenerations. You understand? So I think those are the areas that you may really want to look at, and then after you've looked at those areas, then you should be able to resolve your vehicle. I would first of all look at whether the vehicle is producing is performing optimally, right? Because that's the easiest thing to do, right? Rather than buying a brand new DPF and then realizing that it's your vehicle that is not performing optimally, that is causing that DPF to want to regenerate frequently. I hope you understand me. So it's easier to check if your vehicle is performing optimally, and how you want this be done is you want it to be done by someone who knows what they're doing. Not anybody or everybody out there knows how to check if your vehicle is performing optimally, right? It's not a mere getting on the road and driving. No, you know, there are things that we check. There are things that we check on the vehicle, right? We check the turbo. We test everything to make sure that everything is performing as what the manufacturer says, right? So you need to go to somebody who's trained, who knows. I think the guys at Toyota should be able to do that for you, or you can go to your tuning shop. I know there are plenty tuning shops in Portugal, and they should be able to really figure out if your vehicle is performing as it should, and that should then help you get to a point where you resolve that DPF issue. And then the final question comes from Kamel. I hope I'm saying this correctly. He says, hello, good evening. I am calling from Sri Lanka. I have workshop in Sri Lanka. Do you have DPF removal circuit? At this moment, I'm buying from Sri Lanka DPF removal circuit, but price cost is high. Do you have low cost circuits? Regards. So the answer is no. We don't make emulators, and we don't our business is in any way not associated with emulators. Now the reason why is because we know the problems that these emulators pose. How they work is they work by falsifying signals to the ECU. Tell the ECU that everything is okay with the exhaust, when that's not the case, right? So what ends up happening is sometimes those emulators themselves, they fail, and when they fail, there's no way for you to know that it has failed, right? It would have been better if those emulators were connecting into your CAN or CAN communication of your vehicle in such a way that when that emulator fails, you can be able to scan your diagnostic tool and it will tell you that there's a problem inside the emulator, or the emulator has got a short circuit, or the emulator has got a just as you see with the other control modules such as your ABS and so forth and so forth. Now because of that, those emulators, when they have a problem, you won't know, right? In fact, they will cause the ECU to malfunction, and when the ECU starts to malfunction, sometimes you start to change the turbo, you change injectors and so forth. They will cause a whole bunch of problems for you, right? To a point that by the time you realize, I think probably this is an ECU problem. Because when an emulator fails, the next thing it's going to take out is probably going to be your ECU. I'm saying this from experience because we've seen vehicles. I know there's a customer of ours. He bought an emulator from somewhere. I won't mention his name or where he bought that emulator from. But what ended up happening is that he had bought 20 of his brand new Toyota Hiaces, and he wanted to deal with this DPF issue because I think some of them started to have DPF issues 6 months down the line. And he bought emulators and put on 2 to test. And those 2, what ended up happening was the worst horror movie that you can imagine, right? In fact, the ECUs malfunctioned, they damaged the engines, and he had to buy brand new engines again, right? So that's a problem. To me, that's a problem. And I wouldn't recommend anybody to take that route, right? If you're having a problem, that DPF issue, I encourage you, get in touch with us. We might give you a solution. If you're beyond our reach, sometimes we know people in your area, we can recommend you to those people. Sometimes it might seem as if the solution is on the high side, but it is worth it. That I will promise you, right? It is worth it because at the end of the day, what is important is your asset, right? So I think I've answered all of the questions that I'd picked up, right? Now, if you've got any comments that you want to make in the, please, I would want to hear your comments. Did you learn anything new today? If you learned something new today, then it means I've done a great job to produce this video. And I hope you continue to ask those questions. I hope you continue to write messages to us so that we pretty much answer them the best way we can, and we assist you the best way we can. And if you're having, like I said, if you're having problems with these vehicles, you can book your vehicle, contact us on the numbers that you're looking at on the screen. We should be able to help you, okay? So this is the point where I encourage you to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe to the channel for more similar content. And yeah, if you find this helpful, it would help me, because this is the first video that I've just actually done, to know that I've really helped you in any way. Otherwise, if this is again not useful, I might just cancel that question and answer series. All right, thank you very much for watching.